There's a moment every night, just as the clock flips to 3:11 a.m., where everything in my house changes. The air thickens. The temperature drops. And then I hear them. Small footsteps. Whispering voices. Laughter that doesn't belong to anyone alive. I used to think I was dreaming. Now, I know better. My name is Travis, and I haven't slept properly in 78 days. I live in a quiet neighborhood in Vermont, surrounded by trees, with just enough space between houses that it feels peaceful, isolated, even. I moved here in April after a bad breakup and a worse job loss. I needed the peace, the silence, a chance to reset. What I got was something else entirely. The first time it happened, it was subtle. I woke up at exactly 3:11 a.m. Not 3:10, not 3:12. My digital clock, glowing red in the dark, read it clearly. I remember blinking at it and thinking it was weird that I was awake. I normally sleep like the dead. Then I heard the footsteps. Not adult steps. Not heavy or rushed. These were light, barefoot, and quick. Like a child running across hardwood floors. The thing is, I don't have kids. I live alone. I got up, thinking maybe an animal had gotten inside. I walked down the hall, turned on the lights, checked the front door, locked. Checked the windows, shut. Every room, empty. But then I noticed something. My living room carpet had wet footprints. Small. Like a child's. Leading from the center of the room toward the fireplace, and stopping. No puddle. No entry point. Just, wet prints that shouldn't have been there. I cleaned them up, chalked it up to a weird dream, maybe sleepwalking. But the next night, I woke again. 3:11 a.m. This time, I was already staring at the ceiling, wide awake. Waiting. Dreading. And like clockwork, I heard them. Laughter. Not joyous laughter. It was high-pitched. Broken. Like a recording played backward. Then whispering. I couldn't make out the words, but it felt like they were talking about me. I stayed frozen that night, too afraid to move. The third night, I tried to stay awake. I made coffee. I left the lights on. I blasted music through my headphones. I still woke up. 3:11 a.m. This time, the house wasn't quiet. I heard toys, like the clatter of wooden blocks being stacked and knocked over. I don't own any toys. Then came the giggles, followed by a soft humming, like a lullaby. Familiar. Old. I crept to the hallway and listened. The sound was coming from the spare room I hadn't furnished yet. The door was cracked open. Inside were no toys, but sitting in the center of the room, on the floor, was a single porcelain doll I had never seen before. Its face was cracked. Eyes wide open. Dress old and tattered. There was mud on its little hands. And around it, tiny footprints. Wet. Leading out the window. But the window was locked, from the inside. I started documenting things. I took photos. Set up my phone to record. I even set an alarm for 3:05 a.m. so I could catch them. That night, the footage showed something I still can't explain. At exactly 3:11 a.m., the door to the spare room creaked open by itself. No wind. No vibration. Nothing else moved. Then, from off-frame, a ball rolled slowly into the hallway. You can hear children's laughter just as the screen glitches, only for a second. When the frame clears, the porcelain doll is sitting in the middle of the hallway, turned to face the camera. I never heard it move. I deleted the video. I don't know why. Fear, maybe. Or denial. Out of desperation, I invited a friend over, Kyle. He's a night owl, rational type. A total skeptic. I didn't tell him the full story, just said I'd been hearing things. He stayed over. crashed on the couch. I stayed in my room. At 3:11 a.m., I was already awake. But something was different. I heard screaming. Kyle's voice. I ran downstairs and found him backed into a corner, pale and trembling. He kept repeating, "There were kids in the hallway. They weren't normal." He said they stood at the end of the hall, staring at him. One of them smiled, its mouth way too wide, stretching past its cheeks. Their eyes were all black. And the girl, he said she floated. Kyle left that night and never came back. He still won't talk to me. I needed answers. I dug through property records, old newspapers, anything. Eventually, I found a story from 1976. A fire had destroyed the original home that stood on this land. A woman named Eliza Merritt lived here with her 4 children. Only Eliza made it out. The fire was ruled accidental. But whispers around town hinted she had been unstable. Neighbors reported hearing screams from the basement, children crying at all hours. They found charred toys, drawings, and one porcelain doll, fully intact, at the center of the ruins. The house I bought had been rebuilt in the exact same spot. The 12th night was the worst. They didn't just appear. They spoke to me. I woke to whispers directly in my ear. When I sat up, they were all around me. 4 ghostly children. Standing still. Staring. Drenched in soot. Faces pale and cracked. One girl stepped forward. She said, in a voice like 100 whispers layered together, "He lied. She didn't save us." Then she vanished. All of them did. Except the doll. It was on my chest when I woke up. I reached out to a local medium, a woman named Grace who had dealt with hauntings before. She came the following night, setting up candles and wards in every room. She said the children were trapped, angry, and didn't know they were dead. She tried to cleanse the space. But the moment she began chanting, the air changed. The temperature dropped. And then, every door in the house slammed shut. The candles went out. The doll flew across the room, cracking against the wall. Then the voices started, dozens of them, screaming in agony. Grace passed out. She had scratches down her back when she woke. She left and warned me, "They're not just children anymore. Something darker feeds on their pain." It's been 60 nights since it began. Last night, I decided to stay awake with every light on. No coffee. No headphones. I just sat, waiting. 3:11 a.m. This time, they didn't sneak in. They stood at the end of the hallway, just staring. All 4 of them. A boy and 3 girls. Burnt, broken, hollow. But behind them was something else, a tall, black figure, its hands resting on their shoulders like a puppeteer. It had no face, just a void where its head should be. The girls stepped forward again. Same cracked lips. "Will you stay with us, forever?" I passed out. When I woke, my walls were covered in handprints, child-sized and burned into the plaster. I'm still here. I tried moving, but they followed me. Every night. 3:11 a.m. The doll always finds its way to my bed. No one believes me. But I've started recording again. And this time, I won't delete it. Because if I disappear, I want someone to know, they're real. They're angry. And they're still here.